Welcome to Home Biz Tax Talk. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady, where home business owners win the tax game. Home Biz Tax Talk airs Monday through Friday, and when you tune into my show, you're going to hear about topics that are important to the small business community. Okay, so we're talking about 1099Ks today. Okay, this is something that came in ARPA, the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. This is the bill that was just passed with the new stimulus and all of that. But there's always other stuff in these bills, guys, and one of them is 1099K reporting. So let me go back. Back in December, I shared with you a study from the Treasury Inspector General of Tax Administration, also known as TIGTA. We got all kinds of acronyms, right? And one of the things that they did was studied the 1099K reporting from 2017. And essentially what they found is that there is a whole lot of money that the IRS is missing because of 1099K reporting. They identified 314,586, let's call it 315,000 business taxpayers with $335.5 billion in 1099K income that appeared to have a filing obligation, but were not identified as IRS non-filers. They also identified 62,000 individual filers with 575 million in 1099K income that the IRS did not identify as non-filers. They identified a significant number of business and individual filers. Let's see here, with 203 billion and $3 billion in 1099K income, respectively. So basically, TIGTA saying, hey, IRS, y'all missing out some money. So they identified, they went through and they did this study, and they essentially said that if the IRS focused on Form 1099Ks of income of $1 million or more for businesses and 100,000 or more for individuals, the IRS could potentially assess an additional $5.723 billion in taxes. And so the TIGTA made about 7 recommendations, and the IRS agreed with 3. So the IRS said, okay, they're going to evaluate the start date criteria for reviewing for newly created entities, define the high income business non-filers, and work a percentage of the non-filer cases that TIGTA identified. Okay, so let's talk about the 1099Ks. 1099Ks are what you get from third-party payment settlement entities. This is your PayPal, your Stripe, Amazon, even Cash App, Venmo. They have business sides to those money transfers. So instead of them sending you a 1099 miscellaneous, you get a 1099K. This is also your credit card settlement entities, right? And the threshold was you had to cross 200 transactions and $20,000. You had to cross both of those thresholds in order for you to have a 1099K issued. Okay, so if you had 200 transactions and $19,000, you weren't getting a 1099K. If you had $25,000 and 150 transactions, you weren't getting a 1099K. Okay. And people, of course, know this. Now, what is interesting, and I've heard it on the streets, is that there's some structuring going on where people have multiple payment accounts. So when one payment settlement entity account gets to that level of having to issue the 1099K, then they go and use the other one. That's called structuring, and that is illegal. So what has the IRS done and how have they responded? They have reduced the reporting requirement for 1099Ks to $600, right in line with the 1099 non-employee compensation, what used to be on the 1099 miscellaneous, right? So now starting for tax year 2021, you are going to receive a 1099K if you have settlements for products and services over $600. So there's going to be a lot more people that are getting 1099Ks, but it's in response to people not reporting this income. I know there are some people who really did not know that they were supposed to report the income. I get it. I've heard it. But guess what? You are. And so when TikTok did this study, I told you, when I shared this back in December, that I expected to see a change. I just didn't expect to see a change this fast, because there are several states who had already reduced their reporting requirements to $600. So some states had already made this move. Now the federal government is catching up. So if you're in the e-commerce space, if you're selling on eBay, if you're selling on Amazon, if Shopify, all of that, this applies to you. Because if you are out here and staying below those thresholds and not reporting that income, that is done. Okay, now it's $600. So even though you don't get the forms issued to you, whether it's the 1099K or the 1099 miscellaneous, you are still required to report the income. But because the 1099K reporting threshold was so high, people were just not doing it and flying under the radar. But here's the deal. The companies still have to report those payments to the government. So even though the 1099K may not have been issued to you, the government still knows. Okay? It just did not get, it does, they were just not identified as non-filers. Well, that is going to change. So starting 2021, just know in January, if you're using these third-party payment settlement entities, that you are going to get a 1099K for $600 or more. That's going to be a big change for people. And yeah, there's going to be some people that aren't going to like that, but it is what it is. Okay. So that's it for today's episode of Home Biz Tax Talk. Again, we air Monday through Friday, and you can come right here to get your questions answered about your home business taxes. All right. Have a great day, and I will see you all next time.